Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm Gnadt, the PS2 Guy, and today we're digging up a truly fascinating title, Ghosthunter. Back in the day, this game was not well received, but I think it wasn't given the credit that it's due. It certainly was given credit for its fantastic visuals because they are quite spectacular on the PS2. But the gameplay and the length of the game was criticized, and I think it was maybe criticized a little bit too harshly. This game is a lot of fun. I've been enjoying playing it, and just thought I'd like to bring it all to you, and hope you enjoy this video. Remember to stick around for the shout outs at the end. Thank you very much. Gnadt, the PS2 Guy. Developed by SCE Cambridge Studio over a grueling 3.5-year development cycle, the same team that brought us MediEvil and Primal, two games I really liked, Ghosthunter is a game that tried to blend a lot of different ideas into one spooky package. The creative director James Shepard described the concept as starting with the simple statement, "Let's do dark, adult horror version of Ghostbusters." That's a pretty ambitious cocktail, and today we're going to see if they pulled it off. We'll look at the story, the gameplay, the incredible voice cast featuring some legendary actors, and the legacy of this often overlooked PS2 exclusive that's finally getting the recognition it deserves. In this game, you're going to be playing as Lazarus Jones, a rookie detective for the Detroit PD, and yes, that's the name they gave him. What's fascinating is that the character design was actually inspired by Brad Pitt's look from the movie Fight Club. The developers wanted to create a protagonist who wasn't your typical, undefeated action hero, and Lazarus definitely fits that bill. He's voiced by none other than Rob Paulsen, who you may know as Yakko from the Animaniacs, and Raphael from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Talk about perfect casting for a bumbling everyday cop thrown into an insane situation. On his very first day, Lazarus and his partner, Anna Steele, are sent to investigate a disturbance in an abandoned high school. Just like in true horror movie fashion, Lazarus messes with a strange machine in the basement and accidentally unleashes a prison full of ghosts. Sound familiar? The head honcho of these spirits, a nasty piece of work named Sir William Hawksmoor, voiced by the legendary Michael Gambon, aka Dumbledore, promptly kidnaps Anna, and according to those who worked on the game, Gambon had a blast playing this role. Now, with the help of a mysterious AI and a newly found ability to see ghosts called Second Sight, Lazarus has to travel to a bunch of creepy locations: a haunted swamp, a ghost town, a prison, and even a haunted battleship to recapture the escaped spirits and save his partner. And here's where things get a little weird, shall we say. The development team, they actually went on a real-life ghost hunting trip to New Orleans with a parapsychologist and a psychic to research the game. They claim that they experienced strange phenomena like battery drain and unexplained reflections in their cameras, which adds a cool layer of real-world spookiness to the game development if the stories are true, which, you know. Anyhow. The core gameplay of Ghosthunter is a mix of third-person shooting and ghost busting. You weaken ghosts with a variety of weapons and then capture them with your trusty capture grenade. Kind of a goofy name for the weapon, but hey, that's what they used. It's a satisfying loop, especially when you manage to snag multiple ghosts at once. You've got your standard issue handgun, shotgun, but the real fun comes from the more exotic ghost energy weapons, like a sniper rifle, spectral lasso. Now, it's worth noting that the game predates Resident Evil 4 Gears of War, so the combat feels pretty archaic by today's standard. The movement is super restricted while aiming, but hey, that's part of its charm. Now, the monster design is where the game's personality really shines through, in my opinion. Art director James Wilson, who designed over 90% of the game's visuals, came up with some truly memorable creatures. At one point, you're going to run into a giant nightmarish teddy bear that you have to shoot the stuffing out of, and a puke kid monster who's really looking for his mom. Fun fact, there's even a limited edition plush version of the teddy bear monster that was made. But as you're playing through, you're going to find out that Ghosthunter isn't all shooting. You can also play as a spirit named Astral, who has a variety of abilities that are used to solve puzzles. The puzzles in this aren't terribly difficult, and sometimes they're just kind of plain stupid. But still, it adds something new and gives you a little bit of variety. She can walk through walls, possess certain ghosts, and even throw objects. These sections offer a nice change of pace from the combat, but some players found them a bit slow and frustrating, which honestly I can understand. One thing that everyone agreed on, both then and now, is that Ghosthunter is a gorgeous looking game for the PS2. The developers put a huge emphasis on the visuals, and it shows. The lighting effects in particular are stunning, and the game's art style is incredibly atmospheric. In fact, IGN gave the game a score of 8.4 out of 10, calling it great, and including Ghosthunter on a list of top 10 best-looking PS2 games, alongside giants like Metal Gear Solid 3 and Final Fantasy X. And I completely agree. What's really impressive is the technical wizardry under the hood. The game actually uses the PS2's VU0 processor for advanced physics calculations, featuring volumetric water and cloth physics that you can see in the swamp and the mansion levels. It also supports progressive scan, that's 480p output. But here's the kicker. For some reason, the developers chose to hide that feature. You have to hold down X and triangle during boot up to access it, and you need component cables, of course, to make it work. When you do get it running in the progressive scan, players report that the difference is absolutely stunning. Details that you couldn't see before are suddenly visible. The game also supports 16:9 widescreen mode, making it surprisingly forward-thinking for 2003. The overall tone of the game is also a major highlight. It's not a pure survival horror game, but more of a fun, campy B-movie horror experience. It's got a great sense of humor, and the voice acting, especially Rob Paulsen's performance as Lazarus, is just top-notch, and one of the reasons I've just been enjoying this game. When the game was released, Ghosthunter received mixed reviews. Critics praised the graphics and the atmosphere, but they criticized the clunky controls, linear gameplay, and short length. I agree with the clunky controls and the linear gameplay, but the short length, that's up for debate. The game clocks in at around 10 to 10 and a half hours for most players, which back then in 2003 was considered short. But nowadays, that might be seen as a positive in an era of 100-plus hour open world games. It's all depending on your own perspective. However, in the years since, it's gained a serious cult following, with many gamers remembering it as an underrated gem. Horror game enthusiasts call it probably the best Ghostbusters game on the market, noting how closely it sticks to the Ghostbusters formula while carving out its own dark identity. The game has maintained its value too, and copies now sell for about $55 to $60, with new copies going for over $115. Back in the day, I honestly didn't give this game much of a shot myself. I did end up buying it on clearance, but I think I only played it a couple times. I got a little frustrated at the very beginning and then never played it again and probably sold it off. I really don't remember. But as I've been going through and playing this game again now, I realize I did not give it the shot that it deserves, because this is an excellent game.
What you do is all that matters, and what you have already done.
What I've done is go on a routine patrol, get trapped in an abandoned school, and seen my partner get snatched, okay?
So here's something interesting and exciting for Ghosthunter fans. It got a major second chance by being re-released in June of 2024. Sony added it to the PlayStation Plus Premium, bringing it to PS5 and PS4 with some nice enhancements. We're talking about 1440p resolution at up to 60 frames per second, up rendering, rewind functionality, quick save, custom video filters. The game has earned a 4.45 out of 5 stars, rating it from over 1,000 PlayStation Store users, proving that this cult classic still has what it takes to win over new audiences. So if you don't have the game, go out and buy it. Give it a shot. It's I think you'll be happy with it. Something that I should also mention is that the PS5 version supports DualSense vibration and remote play, and it's available in multiple languages. For many players, this is going to be their first chance to experience this overlooked gem, and the early reports are suggesting that it's finding a new audience that it always deserved. So in my opinion, is Ghosthunter worth playing today? I'd say absolutely yes. It's a game with a ton of heart and a unique personality that stands out even more in today's gaming landscape than it did back then. It's not perfect, it has flaws, but that's part of its charm. The fact that it took a real ghost hunting expedition to research the game, featured legendary voice actors having fun with their roles, and pushed the PS2's technical capabilities to their limits shows just how much passion went into this project. If you're a PlayStation Plus Premier subscriber, you have no excuse not to try this one. And if you're a fan of the PS2 survival horror or just looking for a fun, spooky adventure that doesn't take itself too seriously, you really owe yourself you really owe it to yourself to experience Ghosthunter. It's a perfect example of why preserving and re-releasing older games matters. Sometimes hidden gems just need the right moment to shine. But what do you guys think? Have you played Ghosthunter? Have you played it on PlayStation Plus Premier or on the original hardware? Did you own it back in the day? Let me know in the comments below if you think that this cult classic deserves its newfound recognition. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, be sure to like this video, subscribe, and ring that notification bell for more explorations of the PS2's incredible library. Thank you for watching, and remember, sometimes the best treasures are the ones hiding in plain sight. Thank you again from the PS2 Guy. We only had 2 shoutouts this time, so please, if you've watched this video, let me know where you've watched it from. I'd love to highlight you in my next video. Thanks.